Chosen 1, 2 to 5 December will be crucial. Surprises are flowing. These dates mark a shift in your inner world, a period where your thoughts, your energy, your intuition, and your emotional clarity begin to align in ways they haven't in a long time. You may not notice the change all at once, but you will feel it rising inside you like a quiet wave. There is a sense of internal preparation happening, a kind of awakening that cannot be explained through logic, but can be felt deeply in the soul. Your spirit is adjusting to a new frequency, a new rhythm, a new awareness that will color everything you do during these days. You may find yourself thinking differently, seeing differently, understanding differently. The energy around you becomes more responsive, your intuition becomes sharper, and your inner voice grows louder. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. Chosen 1, before we continue, watch this message until the end, because the frequency it carries is meant for you in this moment. And write your warmest wishes and 144 in the comments to anchor your intention. We mention this here only once. From this point forward, the rest of this message will focus entirely on the meaning of these December dates and the internal awakening they bring into your life. Now, Chosen 1, press the hype button like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. As you step into these early days of December, you may begin noticing a shift in the atmosphere around you. It feels like something is moving, something is shifting, something is aligning. You feel anticipation without pressure. You feel clarity without explanation. You feel readiness without knowing exactly what you're preparing for. This is your spirit sensing what your mind has not yet understood. These days hold a symbolic energy, a time where revelations, realizations, and internal breakthroughs make themselves known. You may feel a pull toward reflection, a desire to slow down, or a sudden inspiration to take certain actions. These impulses are coming from your inner guidance system, directing you toward alignment. Chosen 1, during 2 to 5 December, you may also notice that your emotional landscape begins to change. Emotions that once felt heavy begin to soften. Thoughts that once felt scattered begin to settle. You may feel moments of unexpected peace, moments of deeper understanding, moments of internal release. This emotional shift is part of the surprise flowing toward you, the surprise of clarity, the surprise of emotional stability, the surprise of recognizing your own growth. You may find yourself responding to situations in ways that reveal how much you've evolved. You may choose silence where you once chose confrontation, calmness where you once chose reaction, patience where you once chose urgency. These emotional choices are reflections of your internal elevation. There is also a rising sense of awareness within you, Chosen 1. You begin noticing details that once blended into the background. You hear things differently. You interpret energy more accurately. You sense what aligns with you and what doesn't without needing proof. Your intuition steps forward, guiding your decisions in quiet yet powerful ways. You may feel more connected to yourself, more connected to your instincts, more connected to the path unfolding before you. This heightened awareness is the crucial part of these days, the shift from passive observation to active inner knowing. Chosen 1, you may begin reevaluating certain areas of your life, not from fear but from truth. You question what truly deserves your time, your effort, your attention, your presence. You feel the difference between what is meaningful and what is draining. You feel the difference between what supports your growth and what stunts it. This reevaluation is not chaos, it is clarity. It is your spirit showing you what belongs in your next chapter and what must be left behind. These days hold the energy of sorting, rearranging, understanding, and choosing with intention. You may notice that conversations feel different during this period. Some speak to your soul, some drain your energy, some awaken your creativity, some reveal truths you ignored. You become more aware of the emotional frequency of others, more aware of their intentions, more aware of how their presence affects your spirit. This awareness is a surprise in itself, the surprise of seeing clearly. You may find that you naturally distance yourself from people who are not aligned with your rising energy. You do not argue. You do not chase. You do not explain. You simply move according to what feels true. Chosen one, 2 to 5 December may also bring a surge of inspiration. Ideas may flow more freely. Visions may become more vivid. You may feel the urge to begin new projects, restructure old ones, or bring clarity to plans you've been holding quietly. This inspiration is not random. It is guidance. It is your inner world preparing you for the next stage of growth. This is the surprise of opportunity, not in a material sense, but in the form of clarity, direction, alignment, thought, and inner awakening. You may feel compelled to take action, not out of pressure, but out of purpose. There may also be moments of stillness, chosen one. Moments where your mind feels quieter than usual. Moments where you feel deeply present. Moments where you feel connected to your breath, your body, your emotions. This stillness is not emptiness. It is healing. It is your spirit resetting itself, releasing old tensions, preparing for new clarity. Silence becomes meaningful. Pausing becomes powerful. Rest becomes necessary. Your inner world is aligning itself so that your outer world can shift smoothly when the time comes. You may find that your perception of the future becomes clearer during these days. You begin understanding what you truly want, not from ego, not from fear, but from truth. You see your potential more clearly. You feel your path more strongly. You trust your direction more confidently. This sense of inner certainty is a gift from the universe, a reminder that your journey is guided even when you cannot see the destination. Your spirit begins to trust the unfolding. Your mind begins to trust the process. Your energy begins to trust itself. Chosen one, these days may also reveal areas of your life where you have been holding on to things too tightly. You may realize that some things must be released. Old fears, old habits, old expectations, old disappointments. Release is part of the surprise. When you release what no longer aligns, your spirit makes room for clarity, room for growth, room for new direction. You begin to feel lighter, not because your circumstances changed, but because your energy did. You may also feel an internal shift in how you see yourself. You begin recognizing your strength, your resilience, your intelligence, your capacity for growth. You see how far you have come emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You see how much you have survived. You see how much potential still lives inside you. These self-recognitions are quiet, but transformative. They mark the beginning of a deeper self-connection, one that leads to confidence, peace, clarity, and direction. Chosen one, 2 to 5 December holds the energy of awakening, sensing, realizing, releasing, and aligning. You are stepping into a chapter where your internal world becomes clearer, stronger, and more grounded. These days will feel like the sorting of energy, the refining of your path, the awakening of your inner voice. Chosen one, as you step more fully into the energy of 2 to 5 December, you may begin noticing that your inner world is becoming more honest with itself. Truth rises to the surface in ways that cannot be pushed away or ignored. You begin to see yourself with clarity, not through the lens of old wounds, not through the expectations of others, but through the eyes of your evolving spirit. This honesty is gentle, not harsh. It does not judge you. It reveals you. It shows you the patterns you've outgrown, the habits you're ready to release, and the identity you are slowly stepping into. This self-revelation is one of the most powerful surprises of this period. Realizing that you are shifting internally, even without trying. You may feel a stronger desire to protect your energy during these days. You become more aware of the conversations you allow, the environments you enter, and the people you give access to your emotional space. You feel the difference between what supports your well-being and what disrupts it. You sense why certain behaviors drain you, why certain connections feel heavy, why certain dynamics no longer resonate. This awareness is not meant to isolate you, it is meant to refine you. Your energy is becoming too precious to be wasted on anything that is misaligned with your growth. Chosen one, during this time you may notice that your intuition becomes your primary guidance system. You may feel subtle internal signals nudging you toward or away from certain choices. Even without concrete evidence, you feel what is right and what is not. Your intuition becomes clearer, more direct, more confident. It speaks without fear. It leads without hesitation. And as you listen, you begin to understand that life becomes smoother when you do not resist internal truth. These intuitive nudges are the beginning of the surprises flowing your way, not external events, but internal awakenings. You may also find yourself reflecting on your past with a new kind of softness. You look back at who you used to be, not with judgment, but with understanding. You see the younger version of yourself who survived battles you didn't know how to fight. You see the version of you who tried, even when you didn't have the tools or the clarity you needed. This compassion toward yourself is part of your emotional evolution. It allows you to release old shame, forgive yourself for old decisions, and free yourself from the weight of outdated identities. Chosen one, the energy of these days may bring moments where your mind becomes unexpectedly clear. You may suddenly understand something that confused you for months. You may see the truth in a situation you once struggled to interpret. You may recognize the deeper meaning behind past events. This clarity arrives quietly, almost effortlessly, as if something inside you whispered the answer at the exact moment your spirit was ready to receive it. This internal clarity is the type of surprise that changes everything, because clarity is the foundation of transformation. You may also feel inspired to make small but meaningful changes, restructuring your space, adjusting your routine, reevaluating your habits, or refining your goals. These shifts don't feel forced, they feel natural. Your spirit is guiding you toward alignment, and alignment often begins with the smallest adjustments. These changes are a reflection of your new frequency, a readiness to grow, to evolve, and to create a life that reflects your rising identity. Chosen one, you may feel a different kind of strength growing within you. Not the strength you had to develop when life was heavy, but the strength that comes from emotional clarity. This strength feels peaceful, grounded, and confident. It is a strength that allows you to set boundaries without guilt, speak truth without fear, and walk away from what disrupts your peace without hesitation. This strength is part of the emotional maturation happening within you. There may also be moments where you feel called to slow down, breathe deeper, and spend time in silence. The world may feel louder than usual, but your spirit feels quieter. This quiet is not emptiness, it is restoration. It is the space where insights gather, where clarity forms, where alignment strengthens. You begin to understand that silence is not a void. It is a doorway. And during these days, that doorway is opening. Chosen one, you may also begin recognizing the areas of your life that need tenderness. Not everything requires productivity. Not everything requires action. Some parts of you simply require gentleness, a moment to feel, to reflect, to release, to breathe. You may feel drawn toward emotional healing in a way that feels natural rather than forced. These moments of tenderness are part of the transformation happening quietly beneath the surface. You may find that your emotions feel more transparent during this period. You understand what you are feeling, why you are feeling it, and what your emotions are trying to teach you. This does not mean the emotions are always comfortable, but they bring information. They bring awareness. They bring understanding. You are becoming more fluent in the language of your spirit. Chosen 1, 2 to 5 December may also shift your perspective on your future. You begin to see that your next chapter requires a different version of yourself, a version that is wiser, calmer, more grounded, more intuitive. You feel the shift happening within, preparing you for decisions you have not yet made and paths you have not yet walked. This preparation is subtle yet powerful. It aligns you with opportunities you have not yet encountered, and with clarity you have not yet understood. You may also feel a stronger pull toward authenticity. Pretending becomes exhausting. Performing becomes unnecessary. Masks fall away easily. Your spirit wants truth, in your words, in your connections, in your choices. You begin to align your actions with your inner values, and this alignment becomes one of the greatest surprises of these days. You finally feel at home within yourself. Chosen one, these days are crucial not because of external events, but because of the inner evolution they activate. They mark the beginning of deeper awareness, stronger intuition, emotional maturity, and energetic alignment. They prepare you for what is coming next by strengthening who you are becoming now. Chosen one, as the energy of 2 to 5 December settles into your spirit, you may begin to sense a profound internal recalibration taking place. It feels as if your inner world is aligning itself with a new rhythm, a new pace, a new understanding. You may notice that the things which once overwhelmed you no longer hold the same power. The situations that once confused you now reveal their meaning. The emotions that once felt heavy now begin to lighten. This soft yet unmistakable shift is a sign that something within you is rising, a deeper awareness, a clearer voice, a stronger identity. You may find yourself becoming more emotionally transparent with yourself. You can feel your emotions more clearly, not in a way that destabilizes you, but in a way that grounds you. You understand what your heart is asking for. You understand what your spirit is tired of carrying. You understand what your mind needs to let go of. This emotional clarity is part of the surprise these days bring, the surprise of finally understanding yourself on a deeper level. Instead of fighting your emotions, you listen to them. Instead of suppressing them, you interpret them. This emotional fluency marks the beginning of your next stage of maturity. Chosen one, your intuition may feel especially heightened during this time. It becomes easier to sense when something is aligned and when it isn't. You no longer need explanations or proof. You simply feel the truth. Your inner knowing steps forward in ways that are almost impossible to ignore. This intuitive elevation is not random. It is your spirit responding to the energy of these days. Surprises often come in the form of clarity, not events. And right now, clarity is unfolding in multiple layers of your life. You may also notice that your sense of direction becomes sharper. Even if you do not know the full path ahead, you sense the next step more clearly. You feel drawn towards certain ideas, certain decisions, certain environments. You feel guided away from others. This is not confusion, it is refinement. You are being filtered through your own evolution. Your spirit is pulling you toward what matches your next chapter and gently pushing you away from what belongs to your past. Chosen one, these days may also reveal the relationships that truly support your growth. You may feel a deeper appreciation for the connections that bring you peace and a clearer understanding of the ones that disrupt your energy. You begin to recognize the difference between people who align with your spirit and those who align with your past. Some connections feel brighter, some feel heavier, some drift quietly, some strengthen unexpectedly. This is the energetic sorting that occurs when your spirit rises. It is not loss, it is alignment. You may also begin to notice how deeply your sense of self-respect is shifting. You start choosing yourself in ways you never allowed yourself to before. You honor your limits. You protect your peace. You show up for your responsibilities without sacrificing your well-being. You speak truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. This self-respect is one of the greatest indicators of your rising energy. It shows that you are no longer willing to abandon yourself to maintain comfort or illusion. Chosen one, during these days you may also find that your mind becomes more observant. The thoughts you once ignored now reveal important insights. Your patterns become easier to notice. Your reactions become easier to understand. Your triggers become opportunities for awareness rather than sources of conflict. This mental clarity creates a smoother internal environment, one where growth happens naturally rather than through force. You may feel more reflective than usual. Reflection becomes a tool for understanding rather than reliving. You may revisit old memories, old choices, old conversations, not to reopen wounds, but to see the wisdom hidden within them. Reflection becomes healing. Reflection becomes confirmation. Reflection becomes a way of measuring the distance between who you were and who you are becoming. Chosen one of the biggest surprises of this period is the way your identity begins to shift internally. You no longer think like the old version of yourself. You no longer choose like the old version of yourself. You no longer speak with the same uncertainty, the same fear, or the same hesitation. You feel a stronger sense of self, a version of you who is wiser, calmer, and more intuitive. This identity shift is the true transformation happening beneath the surface. You may also find yourself embracing stillness in ways you didn't before. Moments of quiet become comforting rather than uncomfortable. Being alone feels restorative rather than lonely. You begin to understand that your spirit speaks loudly when the world becomes quiet. This stillness allows you to process emotions, integrate insights, and prepare your energy for the next chapter. Chosen one, another surprise of these days is the way life feels slightly more synchronized. You may notice small coincidences, meaningful encounters, or timely realizations. These synchronicities are the universe's way of confirming that you are aligning with the right frequency. They are reminders that you are not walking blindly. You are being guided. You may also feel a deeper connection to your own inner strength. You begin acknowledging how much you have survived. You recognize the resilience that carried you through storms you never thought you'd overcome. This recognition fuels your confidence. It grounds your identity. It reminds you that you did not break. You transformed. Chosen one, your perspective is expanding. You begin to see life from a higher vantage point, not through the lens of fear or insecurity, but through the lens of clarity and awareness. You begin making decisions with more intelligence. You choose your reactions with more intention. You move with more purpose. This elevation is part of the symbolic meaning of these days, stepping into a new level of insight and emotional maturity. You may also begin feeling a shift in your internal priorities. Things that once consumed your energy no longer matter. Things you once ignored begin calling for your attention. This shift in priorities reveals what your spirit truly values. It is the beginning of living from truth rather than habit. Chosen one, the energy of 2 to 5 December is not loud, dramatic, or chaotic. It is subtle, precise, and deeply transformative. It elevates your awareness. It stabilizes your emotions. It sharpens your intuition. It strengthens your identity. It prepares you for what lies ahead by aligning you with who you are becoming. Chosen one, as you move further into the energy of 2 to 5 December, you may begin to feel your relationship with time itself shifting. You no longer rush in the same way. You no longer chase answers with desperation. Your spirit begins to understand that clarity develops on its own timeline, not on demand. You find yourself allowing life to unfold, instead of trying to control every detail. This surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the recognition that the universe operates with a rhythm that supports your growth, even when you cannot fully see the pattern. These days carry a subtle slowing, a gentle unfolding, a quiet rearranging of your internal atmosphere. You may start to realize that certain things which once felt urgent no longer carry the same emotional weight. You begin to differentiate between what is essential and what is simply loud. Your inner world becomes more spacious, more intentional, more grounded. This mental spaciousness allows you to think more clearly, feel more deeply, and move more purposefully. You are no longer driven by pressure. You are guided by alignment. This is one of the most powerful transformations these days bring. Chosen one, you may find yourself paying more attention to small details, the way certain conversations make you feel, the tone behind someone's words, the subtle shifts in your environment, the emotions rising beneath your thoughts. This heightened sensitivity is not a burden. It is awareness. It is your spirit collecting information that your mind once overlooked. You begin noticing what nourishes you and what exhausts you. You begin recognizing which interactions elevate your frequency and which lower it. This awareness becomes a compass for your next steps. You may also notice that your tolerance for the unnecessary begins to fade. You no longer want to engage in cycles that drain you. You no longer want to entertain drama that distracts you. You no longer want to invest energy into situations that lead nowhere. You begin conserving your emotional resources with a level of precision that shocks even you. This is not withdrawal, it is refinement. You are learning that not everything deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves access to your inner space. Chosen one of the quietest but most significant shifts of these days is the way you begin listening to your thoughts. Instead of pushing them away, you observe them. You examine where they come from. You understand what they reveal about your emotional state. This internal listening leads to breakthroughs, not loud ones, but soft ones that unfold gently in the background. You may suddenly understand why you felt stuck in certain areas. You may recognize patterns you didn't see before. You may learn something about yourself you had been overlooking for years. During this period, you may also feel more protective of your boundaries. You begin saying no more easily, not out of resistance, but out of clarity. You no longer stretch yourself to accommodate what drains you. You no longer shrink yourself to fit into spaces that do not match your growth. Your boundaries become more natural, more instinctive, more rooted. This is a sign that your emotional maturity is strengthening. Boundaries are not walls, they are clarity. And these days bring you that clarity in abundance. Chosen one, your emotional connection with yourself deepens. You begin understanding why certain things once affected you so strongly. You see the wounds behind your old reactions. You see the fears behind your old patterns. This understanding does not bring pain. It brings freedom. It releases you from self-blame. It gives you permission to grow without guilt. It allows you to meet yourself with compassion rather than criticism. This emotional healing is another layer of the surprise flowing your way. You may also experience moments of unexpected inspiration, a sudden idea, a new perspective, a fresh wave of motivation. These inspirations feel different from your usual thoughts. They feel purposeful, intentional, aligned. They feel like whispers from the part of you that knows exactly who you are becoming. You may not act on them immediately, but you feel their importance. These inspired moments are seeds, seeds that will grow into your next chapter when the timing aligns. Chosen one, your relationship with silence becomes more meaningful during these days. Silence no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like clarity. It feels like peace. It feels like connection. You begin to understand that silence is where your spirit speaks loudest. In the quiet, you hear your intuition more clearly. In the stillness, you understand your path more deeply. You begin to crave these silent pockets of time because they restore you in ways that noise cannot. You may also find yourself releasing expectations you didn't even realize you were holding. Expectations of how things should be. Expectations of how people should act. Expectations of how your journey should unfold. You soften these rigid ideas and open yourself to the possibility that life may surprise you in ways you could not have planned. This release opens space for alignment, space for truth, space for clarity, space for the unexpected. Chosen one, another profound shift that may rise within you is the realization that your past no longer defines you. You acknowledge what shaped you, but you no longer allow it to confine you. You recognize the lessons without holding the pain. The emotional weight that once held you back begins to feel lighter. This release does not happen all at once. It happens subtly, naturally, quietly. It is the kind of emotional freedom that grows with each passing day until suddenly you realize how far you've come. You may also notice that your sense of purpose becomes more tangible. Even if you cannot express it clearly, you can feel it. You feel the pull towards something that aligns with your spirit. You feel the shift toward a chapter that matches your evolution. You feel the rise of a version of yourself who is more grounded, more aware, more intentional. Purpose is often felt long before it is understood, and these days bring that feeling closer to the surface. Chosen one, the energy of 2 to 5 December, continues shaping you in ways that may not be visible immediately, but will become undeniable in the coming days and weeks. These inner adjustments, emotional shifts, intuitive awakenings, and quiet realizations are preparing you for the path ahead. This is not a dramatic transformation. It is a foundational one. The kind that builds from within. The kind that strengthens you quietly. The kind that aligns you gradually. And you are rising through every moment of it. And with each subtle change, You are stepping closer to the version of yourself you were always meant to become.